As the conflict in Ukraine enters a new phase of escalation, discussions over sending Western troops and private defense companies to Ukraine have been revived. Le Monde has learned from corroborating sources. These are sensitive discussions, most of which are classified, relaunched in light of a potential American withdrawal of support for Kyiv once Donald Trump takes office on January the 20th, 2025. The debate about sending troops to Ukraine, which French President Emmanuel Macron initiated at a meeting between Kyiv's allies in Paris in February, was strongly opposed by some European countries led by Germany. However, it was relaunched in recent weeks thanks to the visit to France of the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer for the November 11th commemorations. Paris and London are exploring options to support Ukraine in potential peace talks with Russia, including deploying French and UK troops to monitor a ceasefire along the contact line, a senior NATO official told Radio Free Europe / Radio Liberty. The official, who requested anonymity as they were not authorized to speak publicly, noted that these discussions are happening in individual capitals, not within the formal NATO structure. The aim is to prepare for various scenarios, ensuring European countries are ready to assist Kyiv if the new US administration requests greater European involvement. According to the official, the proposals also seek to secure European allies' participation in peace talks that US President-elect Donald Trump could mediate. French and British discussions on leading a military coalition in Ukraine have gained momentum, with Le Monde reporting renewed talks about deploying troops. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot told BBC News that while France is not currently planning to send troops into combat, the country does not discard any options. France will support Ukraine as intensely and as long as necessary. Why? Because it is our security that is at stake. Each time the Russian army progresses by 1 square kilometer, the threat gets 1 square kilometer closer to Europe, Barrot said. The idea of sending Western troops to Ukraine resurfaced in February when French President Emmanuel Macron first raised the possibility. He revisited the topic in May, suggesting that if Russian forces breached Ukraine's front line and Kyiv requested assistance, France would have to seriously consider deploying troops. The debate over the role of Western military involvement in Ukraine highlights a broader divide among European leaders on how best to support Kyiv in the face of Russian aggression. Speaking at the Halifax International Security Forum, Estonian Defense Minister Hanno Pevkur stressed that Ukraine needs greater investment in its military production capabilities, not foreign troops on its battlefield. In an interview with Reuters, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine says Ukraine will need tens of thousands of unmanned robotic ground vehicles next year. They will be used to deliver ammunition and supplies to infantry in the trenches, as well as to evacuate wounded soldiers. According to him, the buggy-like vehicles are an example of how technology is changing positional warfare in Ukraine and will relieve troops of the need to operate in areas near the front line where Russian shelling and drones often occur. This year we purchased several thousand ground platforms, and next year I believe we need tens of thousands, said the minister, who has been in charge of drone procurement for most of the war, in an interview. As of this month, he is no longer in charge of purchasing drones. Fedorov said the machines are already being used along the front and in Russia's Kursk region, where Kyiv's forces carved out an enclave during the August invasion. There are several training centers in Ukraine to train for their use, he added. The use of military technology is rapidly evolving despite the fact that the war has become a bloody, exhausting struggle with no significant changes on the battlefield, despite Russia's recent accelerated successes that began 33 months after the invasion in 2022. According to Fedorov, since 2023, Ukraine's production of long-range drones has increased tenfold, and President Volodymyr Zelenski has set a goal of producing 30,000 of these deep damage weapons next year. Russia is launching thousands of long-range drones a month, actively using low-cost decoy drones that wear down Ukraine's air defense forces, which see the mark on radar and are forced to shoot it down. Fedorov said that Ukraine also used decoy drones and sometimes launched more attack drones in a single night than Russia, but it was not just a numbers game. AI is used to some extent, but the more critical issues are connectivity and launch methods of deep strike drones. Russia has improved monitoring of Ukraine's drone launches, quickly responding and targeting launch sites. These nuances require constant launch method and connectivity changes, he said. According to him, Ukraine has strike drones that can fly up to 1,800 kilometers. He also confirmed that Ukraine is working on drones to intercept long-range strike drones like the Shahed, which Russia uses for its nighttime attacks on Ukrainian cities. Some companies that produce aircraft are conducting tests that, thanks to specialized software and radars, can hit Shaheds, but it's still at the research and development stage. There are some results, he said. He said that this year Ukraine has signed a contract to purchase 1.6 million drones, of which 1.3 million have been delivered, including low-cost FPV drones equipped with cameras that allow them to be remotely piloted to achieve targets. Ukraine is also using dozens of domestic artificial intelligence systems that enable its drones to reach targets on the battlefield without pilots, allowing them to remain effective in areas protected by strong obstacles. Fedorov said that 10 companies are constantly competing in public procurement for the right to supply AI-based products. There is some testing by certain companies producing aircraft that, thanks to specialized software and radars, can strike Shaheds, but this is still in the research and development phase. There are certain results, he said. According to UK intelligence, the main event that changed the nature of the Russian-Ukrainian war was the use of unmanned aerial vehicles. Ukraine successfully used UAVs against military targets in Russia. In mid and late September, Ukraine struck 4 Russian strategic ammunition depots hundreds of kilometers away from Ukraine. The total tonnage of ammunition destroyed at the facilities is the largest loss of Russian and North Korean ammunition during the war.